My name is Kevin Furman. You have gotten to 10 steps to unbelievable rolls. This is step number 9, which means we're almost done. If you haven't seen 1 through 8, you need to go back and check all that out because it really lays the groundwork for what we're going to talk about on this one. Step 9 is a kind of a big leap from what we've been doing so far. So far, it's all been about muscle building and control of just learning how to bounce the stick. Step 9 is a very, very important step in learning how to manipulate those bounces so that your roll is extremely even. So here's the thing about what I've done so far. And again, if you haven't seen 1 through 8, then you need to go check those out. Step 9 is all about evenness of your roll. So, and I don't mean timing. I don't mean 1 E and 2, like that kind of evenness. I'm talking about note evenness. Because everything we've done up to this point, I've talked about letting the stick drop and then you let it push against your fingers and then, you get the bounce. Okay. What that does, if you do it exactly the way I told you, it gets you what I would call a top-heavy bounce, meaning the first note is louder than the second note, right? So you get da-da, 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 right? And so far, that's actually not a bad thing to do because it allows you to let the stick do the work. The stick will bounce and you don't have to worry about working so hard and squeezing to make it do something. The stick does most of the work. Now what you're going to do in step 9 is actually get that second note to be even with the first note. Okay? Now we're going to talk about that, but that's the whole point of step 9 is to make this so that both notes of the right or the left are even. All right, now how that works is you use what Gordie Knudson coined as the open-close technique. Now this technique has been around for quite some time. Gordie has done a killer job with videos and books on explaining this and going through and beginning to master this technique. If you haven't seen or heard of Gordie Knudson, you need to go check out gk-music.com and go check out what he's got going on and look at his open-close technique books and videos. Killer stuff. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel here, but I will go through the basics mechanics of it, and then you can check out Gordie's stuff to really flesh it out and become a master of it. Because that is the next step in 9, like 9A or 9B would be go do all that. 9A or 9 right here is really just to introduce you to the concept, explain how it works, and begin the process of getting your notes to be even. Here's how it works. So when you play a normal bounce, I'm going to go back to kind of step, early on steps of you get 2 hits, like step 5. So you want very slow bounces. Okay, so I'm going to get, so you can kind of see my hand here. Right, there we go. Right, so what happens is that second bounce has less energy. Much like if I dropped a ball, right, it would bounce and then some of the energy is transferred and it doesn't bounce as high and the second hit's not as strong. So it's the same principle, physics principle as bouncing a ball. You drop a ball and the second bounce isn't as high because of friction, air, gravity, all that stuff, right? Not important what that all means, it just means that your second hit is going to be softer. Okay, well, we've got to get it even. And you can't play both of them lighter because then they both just become lighter. So relatively speaking, you're going to always have a top-heavy bounce if you do what I'm talking about. How you get that second note louder is you use what this is called the open-close technique. Now I'm going to slow everything down and kind of stop motion this so you can see what's going on. Here's how it works. Your right hand goes down, right? You're throwing the stick down, right? Okay, and then it hits, pushes your fingers open, right? And then they fall, it falls again, hits the drum again, and you pick it up. That's a normal let the stick bounce thing. Here's how it works in the open-close technique is, the open meaning when you drop your hand opens up. Okay, so it naturally opens up, and then when you pull your hand back up, it naturally closes. So open-close. Open-close technique is referring to that natural motion of hand open when it's down, close when it's up. Okay, so you're working with a natural flow of your body when you use open-close technique. It also allows you to do this. Here's what it allows you to do. First hit goes down. Boom, your hand opens. Now, instead of just letting the stick bounce, you can then at that point pull on the stick, much like this. Like if you take your stick and then pull on it with your fingers, right? So you're just pulling on the stick like this, right? Kind of like that. If you turn your hand up, oh crazy, gravity will pull it down. You can pull the stick up with just your fingers, right? Notice I'm not using my wrist, just my fingers. Right, makes sense? So when it hits that second time, you're in a position where, oh, my fingers are on the stick, hence why I kept telling you this, right? So now at step 9, you can use your fingers to pull and actually make that note loud. So you can actually pull on that note the second time. So the first one, you throw the stick down with your wrist. Boom, hits. Pushes your fingers open, so to speak. Okay? Open, right? And then you close your hand really quickly, which gets you a note. And then it actually does naturally pull your hand up, which gets the stick back up for the next one. Okay? Now it's a really quick, simple explanation of the open-close technique. Right? But that's what's going on. You do a wrist note with your wrist, boom, fingers open up. Now you pull with your fingers, and you get a note with your fingers, closing your hand, and that pulls the stick back up. Now this one, it's a little tricky at first, okay, to get that to work right. A lot of times people want to do that, like they're pulling and then they leave your wrists like flat. Okay, really, if you pull your hand closed in a fist, like an actual fist, right? If you pull your fist, your wrist naturally pulls back up. It doesn't stay down. You can make it stay down, but it doesn't naturally do that. It naturally pulls back. Okay, and if you open your hand up, it naturally falls. Like if you can open your hand, but if you relax it, right, it falls. If you pull your hand closed, it pulls up. So you want to work with that natural flow of your hand when you do this. Okay, it's one of the more natural things, very ergonomic, if you will, right? Both hands do the same thing. There's no difference. So when you're doing the right, left, we want to slow it back down again, because in step 8 we were doing the slow, fast, slow thing, right? Now we're going to go slow again and really work on hands separate for a little bit. So I'd say take 30 seconds and do hands separate and try to make the notes bottom heavy, meaning the second note louder than the first. And you do that by pulling really quickly on the stick on the second one. And then you work on timing to make sure it doesn't, mess up with where your timing is at. You just want to make sure it's louder. So you really want a bottom heavy kind of sound. So then you work on both hands being bottom heavy. Okay, now when you get that down, that means you're able to make them even if you don't pull quite as hard. If you listen to the first note and then pull just enough to make it the same volume, which takes practice, hint, hint, right? So it looks like I'm just letting the stick fall, but really I'm adding energy to the second hit of the stick as I'm closing my hand, okay? Now, again, if this is kind of, whoa, what is he talking about? You need to go check out Gordy's thing. He goes into it a lot more depth. I don't have time in this format to do that. He's done an excellent job. You got to see what he's got. Anyway, this will be the basic mechanics. It does make sense, generally speaking, but if you need more detail, go check him out. Anyway, so then what you do is you go back to, hello, sorry. You go back to trying to make him even again, kind of slow. Hands separate is going to take some time, right? But then you put them back together like we did with step 7 and 8 and all that stuff, like 6, 7, 8. But you're pulling now on the second note. Now you've got an even double stroke roll or open roll because you're pulling on the second note. To do it at faster speeds, guess what? It takes practice. It doesn't interfere with and or become tense because you're working with the natural flow of your hand. So you can play as loud as you want, slow, fast, soft, slow, and everything can be even, which is ideal. That's exactly what you want. So in step 9, really it's all about the open-close technique. That's how it's done. That's what you're going for. Again, check out Gordy's Steel, gk-music.com, if you want to know more detail about that. All right, thanks for checking out step 9. Again, very quick overview. If you got more questions, which you may have, send me an email or just give me a post or something. All right, take care. I'll see you soon, and don't forget, check out step 10. We got one more left. See ya.